That's my name. That's okay.
Mike's Daily Podcast.
Here we are, FF episode 2219.
Mike's Daily Podcast.
No, wait, that's 2220. I got confused. I hope you forgive me. I got a little bit, something happened on my knee, and that's called poison ivy. It got on me. I don't like that, so you see, I had a picture of the sea, Pacific Ocean. Last podcast picture with Basil the Boxer from
Mike's Daily Podcast
5 years ago. Wow, so 22220. That's pretty nice. The 3 2s.
Mike's
that makes a nice FF episode.
Daily
Podcast starting right now.
Podcast.
That's what those people are singing.
Yeah.
Yes. So I was watching a wonderful FF episode of Midsummer Murders last night, and it involves people at a rock concert, and it turned out the big, huge guy with a thick Scottish accent was the murderer. Who could have predicted that? You know how he murdered people? So he was basically bumping off all of his former bandmates. He was in this band that was like a blues band, British blues band, that was supposed to be as big as the Beatles in this episode. I think they did this episode in 2007. One of the bandmates, his drummer that sounded a lot like Ringo Starr, he got drunk, stuck him in an old car, smothered him with a allergy-sensitive pillow, allergic, what do you call it, non-allergenic pillow, and then pushed the car into a pool. Yes. And I thought to myself, this episode that was an expensive episode of Midsummer Murders. I hope they are watching their budget, because this show has been on for like 21 years, and I was a little concerned. So here we are at Cafe Anyway, somewhere in Podcaster Valley.
Here's today's podcast picture.
The last place on earth. And I would invite you to see all the past podcast pictures, listen to all the shows at MikesDailyPodcast.com. Oh, and I think I might upload this video I took yesterday. After I did the podcast, I went for a walk, and there was a eagle or a hawk or something sitting on a telephone wire, and these crows were trying to get to it. Oh, Basil hated crows. Oh, he barked at crows. He hated crows. Yes, he would do some funny barking at the crows. Even as he got older and I would have to carry him with a harness in the back of his back legs because they couldn't move, and he would still bark at the crows. So there's this wonderful Australian Shepherd dog named Sailor that lives down the street from me, and we petted Sailor last week on Sunday, and shortly after, we started to manifest, my lovely lady friend and I, the symptoms of poison oak. And that is something poor Sailor didn't know he was transferring to us. But yes, we got some nasty poison oak. And my hand, really, I mentioned it last podcast, but it does look hideous. I wore a glove to hide it when I went out the other day, because it just looked, and then I looked a little like Thanos. But I'm not going to snap my finger and kill half the universe. That's where you lost me, Marvel. That was a bridge too far. Oh, all the other stuff, a guy turning green and be bigger than a house and all that, that's fine, but that and all your crazy CGI, that was a bridge too far. I can't stomach it anymore. Sorry. And then I hear last night Ryan Reynolds live tweeted watching his performance as the Green Lantern. Remember that first superhero movie he did? And that was one of the first superhero movies that really bombed bad. And that scared the movie industry. Maybe we shouldn't do superhero movies all the time and try and make money. But then people were making money off of it anyway. And the podcast picture is a beautiful sunset and the Golden Gate Bridge. This was taken from Albany Bulb, the Albany Bulb, in the Albany area, just north of Berkeley, south of Richmond. See it at MikesDailyPodcast.com. And I think that it's time to get to this interesting little story I found. Gonna jump around. The pandemic has taken a heavy toll on young people's mental health. Almost half of 18 to 24-year-olds in the English-speaking world are facing a clinical level risk of mental health disorders like depression and anxiety. And COVID-19 has only made things worse. A major study has found. A survey of 49,000 people. So this is a study. It was led by the U.S. nonprofit Sapien Labs. And it's not the first to highlight what the World Health Organization has called a parallel pandemic of poor mental health during the outbreak. Scientists gauged that the mental well-being of respondents across 8 English-speaking countries, including the United States, but also substantial English-speaking populations of South Africa, India, and Singapore. That makes sense. I mean, it's been a toll. Major change. It could have been way worse, but wow. Now, well, maybe it is getting worse. I heard about major coronavirus variant found in pets for the first time. 2 reports released found that the first evidence that dogs and cats can become infected by B117, a recent variant of the pandemic coronavirus that transmits it was found in UK animals. They suffered myocarditis, an inflammation of the heart tissue that was found in serious cases, can cause heart failure. But the reports offer no proof that SARS-CoV-2 variant is responsible, nor that it's more transmissible or dangerous in animals. Oh, okay. It's an interesting hypothesis, but there's no evidence that the virus is causing these problems. Okay, there we go. I've just disproven a story that you may have seen on the internet. Thank you for that. We'll see. It's in Europe. There is a lot of variant stuff happening, and people you're seeing spiking in numbers. So just because we're getting all vaccinated and it looks like a positive trajectory, we still need to be careful and vigilant. Okay, enough of that. Hey, speaking of pets, as we go outside a cafe anyway, we're bringing Mike's Daily Podcast somewhere in Podcastro Valley, the last place on earth. There's a lady named Chely Phillips, and she looks a lot like someone I still know via the internet, though I haven't seen her in many decades, Pam Baumgartner. But Chely Phillips, 97 dogs are inside my house, and 79 of them are in my master bedroom. Those are the words that went viral during Hurricane Dorian, when a lone dog rescuer in the Bahamas, Chely Phillips, posted a photo of her house full of dogs. She frantically picked them up as many street dogs. She picked up as many street dogs as she could and brought them home to save them from the ravages of the approaching hurricane. Chely has been rescuing animals her whole life, and she has been rescuing the street dogs of Nassau for the last 11 years through her organization, Voiceless Dogs of the Bahamas. She grew up in Peru with 4 siblings. Everyone in her family loves animals. They raised any orphaned jungle creatures that they found. She helped care for and raise tigers, monkeys, snakes, and alligators. When she was 16 years old, she left Peru. She spent time in Belgium, Switzerland, France, and then Orlando, Florida. She helped street dogs in every country she has lived in. I think I will adopt a street dog when I am ready to have dogs and cats again in my life. After the loss of Basil the Boxer, I have just not been in it. Just can't do it. And I know I just needed a break. I need a break, and I'm taking a break. So I had a conversation with someone today who had told me, "Oh, can you adopt this Chihuahua?" And I said, "I can't. I gotta put the blocks up. I don't have many boundaries in my life, as you can tell from listening to the show, but I do with certain things. I mean, everyone's got to have boundaries of some sort, and this is one of the boundaries I have to put up right now. But this Chely Phillips had put up no boundaries, and she saved all these dogs. I had 3 pumps running all night to get the water out of the house, but then the motors all burned out. The water kept rising, but finally the storm passed, she said about that Hurricane Dorian. And she's on Facebook if you want to follow her heroics. But wow, that takes a lot of work. I pulled that story, by the way, from Coastal Canine, and very interesting. Free publication. So Michael J. Fox, facing reality. Behind the scenes, a series of health crises were proving both physically and mentally debilitating for Michael. On top of the day-to-day struggles of life with a progressive disease, there was surgery to correct a persistent spinal cord issue, followed by physical therapy, and then a fall that resulted in a broken arm requiring 19 pins and a plate to put everything back together. While Michael J. Fox has steadfastly refused to linger too long on the negatives that come with life-changing diseases, the arrival of these events in a relatively quick succession proved overwhelming. Even for an incurable optimist, all of a sudden it just got down on me. I thought, these are the lemons life is giving me, but I'm not in the lemonade business. Objectively speaking, Michael J. Fox had reason to be sour. He was just 29 and in the midst of a thriving career that had produced 2 hit sitcoms and a movie career that had yielded worldwide box office receipts of $1.8 billion. When he received his Parkinson's diagnosis, he was told by doctors that his acting career could go on for another 10 years. He was among the approximately 5% to 10% of the 60,000 people diagnosed with Parkinson's each year who contract the disease before the age of 40. It's officially known as young onset Parkinson's disease, and it changed the trajectory of both his personal and his professional life in profound ways. He says, I've been an old man for 30 years. It feels particularly unfair when recalling the level of physicality Fox brought to so many of his best-known TV and movie roles. Among them being the Family Ties, and then he was Marty McFly and Back to the Future. The good thing, he says, is that there's always a future until there isn't. The future is the last thing you run out of, he says. The moment until you shut down, you've got a future, and then you don't. For now, Fox's future will likely continue to focus on his foundation work. No Time Like the Future is a book that he came out with, and he says it bluntly lays out how it's been to spend the past 3 decades living with Parkinson's, and he acknowledges that it was hard to remain positive in the wake of his recent health crisis. The book is written with a degree of candor and appreciation for the written word that's refreshing in an era of superficial celebrity memoirs. It's clear that Fox is proud of how he was able to bring his thoughts and ideas to the page. It has to do with being an actor and having a feeling, trusting that the passageway from that feeling to an emotive expression is going to be pure and clean, says Michael J. Fox. And your acting is going to be honest. It's the same channels with writing. You say what you believe as you would say it. It can't necessarily be good or bad. It's just my voice. The rigors of Parkinson's disease might have left that voice a little weaker, but thankfully for Michael J. Fox's millions of fans, it still has plenty to say. That is from the Costco connection that came out late last year. So we wish Michael J. Fox well. Okay. And finally, this thought. Making mistakes. If you caused a mistake, miscalculation, blunder, mess, screw up, flub, flob, blow up, strikeout, glitch, accident, or error, then take responsibility and fix the problem, says E. Arthur Self, Ph.D., from his book Good Success, Learning Good Lessons from Bad Leaders. If the failure is not your fault, but you get blamed for it, make your position known and defend yourself responsibly. What's his face? The governor of New York, Cuomo. Did he make a mistake or not? He denies anything with the women. All the women coming out saying, he behaved inappropriately. And he's like, no, lies. It's very interesting right now. So he's the Democrat version of Trump these days. Trump just was like, no, it's left-wing conspiracy. But now, because Cuomo is supported by a lot of people on the left, or he was, now it's a different issue. He can't battle the left when he's on the left. I don't know, that's my little quick political analysis, be it right or wrong. But yes, if you make your position known and defend yourself responsibly, knowing the person or group who caused the failure will refuse to do so. Bad leaders won't skin their own skunks. They're not likely to take responsibility for or fix the disasters they cause. Interesting. They say, no, I'm not wrong. Good leaders put organization in the center of the road, go in the right direction, stay out of the ditch. They keep organizations doing the right things and avoiding the wrong. Bad leaders put organizations on the shoulder of the road, close to the ditch, and going in the wrong direction. They keep organizations doing the wrong things instead of the right. But good leaders want to discover and solve the problems that led to a failure. They seek to instruct the people who lack the insight, knowledge, and leadership skills that allowed failure to occur. These leaders understand that a best strategy is to not ignore or denigrate those accused of causing the failure, but to help them ensure the failure won't occur again. You know, mistakes are the only things you can truly call your own. Don't forget your second wind. Wait in the corner until that breeze blows in. Yes, that was a big Billy Joel song. Came off his greatest hits album that he released in the mid-'80s. Do you know Billy Joel, the song, "What's the matter with the car I'm driving, can't you tell that it's out?" He said that the chord progression for that was basically Bob Dylan's "Late 80 Day, lay across my big brass band. Stay lady, stay for a while." I was told today by somebody that fast food franchise that I don't think you see around here in Podcastro Valley in California, but you see in the South, where I lived for 2 years in Alabama. There's a franchise called Crystal, and they make, it's burgers and stuff. And apparently when the stimulus checks came out, there was one Crystal that apparently they put a sign in the drive-thru that said, "Hey, looking for people to work for me because my staff got their stimulus checks and they all took off. They all quit. They got their $1,400 and they left." So, was that $1,400? Was that it? It's interesting. And it brought me to think about when I lived in Alabama and worked at a conglomerate of stations, 5 stations. I was working for the country station out there called The Wolf. I was the program director. I had to launch it, create it, come up with the music and all that stuff, and work with the company to do so. And yes, lots of fast food in the little town that I was in Alabama, Athens, Alabama, where the Athens Shakes, Alabama Shakes comes from Athens, Alabama, with Brittany Howard. And I was thinking about that today, and that was like the first time I discovered Chick-fil-A, and I went back over and over again to get those waffle fries, and they had some good shakes. Now there's one near me where I work in Fremont, but I've been avoiding the temptation of going to Chick-fil-A. The temptation of Chick-fil-A, which is closed on Sundays. So you can admit to your temptations and try to find a better way in your life, living your life on Sundays. Okay, so if you're listening to the show on Sunday, thank you. do realize that I am on a radio show, and there's a link to that. Every Sunday, 9 a.m. to 4 p.m., you can hear me on this music channel station, playing music, doing that sort of thing. There's a link at MikesDailyPodcast.com. Check that out. And here we're outside a cafe anyway, somewhere in Podcastro Valley. Let's say hi to some people. Hello, Michael Master. It's Madame Rootabega. And are you having an epidural? Oh! No, I'm not having an epidural. I'm having epidermis issues because of the poison oak. I'm still waiting for this stuff to clear up. It's weird because later in the day, I'm fine. But somehow in the middle of the night, it comes back and it gets really bad. And then I'm putting all this ointment on it. And then, I don't know what's going on. But in the middle of the night, it's in the middle of the night. Another Billy Joel song. Did you know that album called River of Dreams, right? That album, he had to tell his drummer, Liberty DeVito, I can't use you anymore. And that was... He wasn't on that album, or I don't think he was. Definitely he was not on the song River of Dreams. And Danny Kortchmar, who had worked with Don Henley, which goes back to the Don Henley Billy Joel interview that came out 6 years ago. That's very fun to watch, and if you're a songwriter, it's a great way to get little tips on how to write songs, as Don Henley and Billy Joel have written so many songs. Never written a song together, as far as I know. But Danny Kortchmar told Billy Joel for the River of Dreams album, he was the producer, he said, no, Billy, you're not going to use your band. You're going to use the musicians that I pick. I did not realize that. And Billy was so close to his musicians in his band that this changed. Maybe that's why, and that really became the last studio album he did. Then he's done stuff since, like a classical music album where he wrote the music and then had some other pianist perform the songs that was classically trained, but he hasn't really done a studio album since then. But he says he still writes music all the time. Dang, Danny Kortchmar. Danny Kortchmar, now I think he also... Was he the guy that did the guitar work on the song Boys of Summer? And he's worked with, let's see, Carole King, Jackson Browne. Yeah, Don Henley. I think he was on, like, the Boys of Summer song. He co-produced and played on John Bon Jovi's Blaze of Glory album. He's on the End of the Innocents with Don Henley. All She Wants to Do Is Dance. Yeah, so very prolific, and then worked with Billy Joel. Okay. Oh, Sunset Grill, too. I love that song. Down at the Sunset Grill. That had Toto playing on it, by the way. The guys that you hear on the song Africa, that did the song Africa, they're playing on Don Henley's song Sunset Grill. Respectable Little Murders. Hey, they get more respectable every day. But don't worry, girl, I'll stand by you. And someday soon, we're going to get on that boat and get out of here. Is that how it goes? Love that. Oh, by the way, Don Henley, along with Matthew McConaughey and his wife, and I think Kelly Clarkson, Post Malone, they're all going to be doing a concert Sunday evening. And there's, I think it's going to be on YouTube if you look it up. It's to help out Texans that were affected by that horrible storm and the winter cold recently. That was just completely unexpected in the great state of Texas, where they have their own power structure, but it was not ready for the cold, cold winter. Which was funny because Ted Cruz used to make fun of California all the time, and now Californians get to make fun of Ted Cruz and how his state got frozen. It all comes back around, doesn't it? Hey, look who else is here. Hello, Mike. This is Floyd the Floorman. And this is Valentino, the parking attendant. And this is Bison Bentley. Mike, we're doing our own little fundraiser for Texas Day. Yeah, the great state of Texas. That's good. We love Texas and California. We love it so much that we leave California and move to Texas. That's why we would do a fundraiser in Texas, for Texas, in California. It's not that far. We just got to go through a couple states to get there. I've done it. It's quite a drive, though. You see, you go through Arizona, and then you go through the New Mexico. You wave hi to Gene Hackman, who I think lives somewhere in New Mexico, and then you're in Texas. It's crazy. No, we're not doing a fundraiser for Texas, guys. Oh, that's good.
Yeah, we weren't really planning on doing a fundraiser, Mike D.
Yeah, we can't raise funds. Do you know that? Madame Rootabega, would you like to do anything with all these people outside a cafe anyway that are just hanging out and, breathing air through their noses? Yes. Would you like to sing to them? Yes. Would you like to sing a song? No. Okay. Next show, it'll be the wonderful Chely Shoehart, Floyd the Floorman, and John Deere the engineer. Thanks for listening. And if you would like to chime in, you can call me 336-MM Daily. That's 3 + 3 = 6. MM is in Mike Matthews Daily. As what this podcast has been for quite a few days now, so I might have to take a break.
Mike's Daily Podcast is written and produced and performed by Mike Matthews. His podcast is super easy to find. Download or listen to his show and read his blog at MikesDailyPodcast.com. Email Mike now at MikesDailyPodcast@gmail.com. See you tomorrow. Bye!